welcome to Songs for the Struggling Artist, episode 47. This episode is, what is it about? Well, the blog is called No One Cares. No one wants your art. No one's asking for your art. That's what it's actually called. No one's asking for your art. I went through a lot of titles, and that's the one I settled on. But sometimes I forget. It's funny because this blog has been going super viral. Well, not as viral as the most viral posts I've done, but more viral than anything lately, especially for whatever reason in the last few months. The Facebook algorithm has not been yielding the numbers that it used to. I think people are not on Facebook as much, one. And two, the political situation is such that people just when they're on real fast and then they get right back off. And it's all just political posts. So Facebook isn't so keen on third-party content, which my blogs are. So it's probably fallen down the algorithmic cave hole, whatever. But this one somehow managed to transcend all of those obstacles that have come up in the last few months. It was more popular 3 days after I posted it than it was the day I posted it, that's a post that's not coming from me. That's I don't even know. That's the funny thing is you can't find out why people are reading it. I know it's Facebook, but I don't know, it doesn't tell me whose posting made it popular. So it's a mystery. But it's nice. It is ironic that a post about not caring about your audience is the post that somehow people care about. So, yeah, see? You never know. So I shall read it to you and enjoy. No one's asking for your art. Probably there is no one who can't wait to read your next play. Probably no one is itching to read your novel. No one is clamoring for your new album or begging for your next dance piece. Probably you have some loved ones who are very supportive and tell you how excited they are to read your latest writing, but 9 out of 10 people really don't care. And even the most supportive person you have on your side won't see or read everything. Your friends might feel obligated to go see your show or listen to your album, but they probably won't come every single time or listen more than a few times. Probably when you tell them about your latest creative venture, they'll tell you they're excited about it, but they probably won't come. Life happens to everyone. Everyone can't see everything. I'm not saying your people are not glad that you make art, but the odds are they're not clamoring for your latest thing, especially if you make a lot of things. This is why you have to untie yourself from your potential audience. If you have the instinct to create, you have to do it for yourself first, because no one wants whatever you have in mind more than you. I think this is true even if you're a popular artist who people want to hear from. Let's look at J.K. Rowling. Her fans wanted Harry Potter now and forever. No one wanted her to write a book about a small-time English village council election. No one was asking for that. But she wrote it anyway. If Rowling was completely tied to what people wanted from her, she'd have been writing only Harry Potter for the rest of her life. But no. Not only did she write a novel about an election, she also went and wrote a whole crime series under a pseudonym. I bet you no one was asking for her to do that when she started. If you're not J.K. Rowling, your audience might not want anything at all from you. The most likely response you will get to your art is indifference. And you cannot let this stop you. Just because no one particularly wants you to do it, doesn't mean you shouldn't. If you're called to create, you have to do it. For you. No one else. Or maybe one other person. It could even be an imaginary person. I have one dedicated fan of the podcast. I record it for him. And even he doesn't listen to every single one. A more logical person might leave such an enterprise aside, but I don't make a podcast for logical reasons. I make it for artistic ones. My reasons understand that not every artistic expression is for everyone, and that as long as I feel inclined to create, that's how long I should do it. No one wants it. But if you don't express that unique, sparkling thing in your soul, it will fester, or at the very least, wink out of existence. If you need people to want your work, you might just want to go ahead and work in advertising. You can go be a creative in marketing or some form of industry. They're going to want your words, your ideas, your drawings, etc. They'll give you assignments, structures, and feedback. They'll ask you for all you have. They will read everything you write for them. They will listen to all you record. They will look at all that you draw, and you will get payment, one way or another. But if you feel called to be an artist, you'll need to be prepared to go where no one is calling to you, where there is no encouragement but your own creative spark. The practice of a life in the arts is learning how to nurture your own spark, how to stoke your own creative fire and encourage it to blaze so it becomes harder and harder to ignore. Learn how to be your own match, your own oxygen, your own kindling, your own log, and you have a practice for life. There you are, my fellow artists. It is funny to see comments on posts that aren't my own. Like, I mean, they are. This is my blog, but I would see Facebook. You know, it'll show you some stuff, and I would see people commenting on this blog. Mostly, it was interesting. Like people who kind of took umbrage a little bit. That are like, a lot of them were designers. You know, who were like, but people do want my art. I work as a designer. And I go, right, yeah, I feel like people take it personally, like, oh, that means I'm not an artist. And that's not what I mean. But I do think that the art that you do for your boss is not art. It's artistic and creative, absolutely. But art that is coming from outside of yourself is not really the stuff. And I feel like the recent culture is so valued in the other direction, that like idea that your stuff is only worth something if you're getting paid for it. I feel like that idea has really taken over the culture. And I think it's horrible. But I also understand that like that's upsetting to you if you have bought into that and you really do believe your only value is through earning money. Anyway, it's a tricky business, but I also really do feel like there are not enough voices out there defending or I don't know, standing for art that comes from something besides money. Yeah. So I'm for that. That's me. I'm standing for that. Yeah. There's also been some really funny, like, distinctions between actors who are not necessarily creators. And I think there's a difference. I do believe performers are artists, but there's often times where that impulse is not necessarily coming from you. That's something that you give yourself to. That's an interpretive art that is actually much more dependent on an audience, and I have more to say about that at another juncture. But that is also a sticky wicket for a lot of people, that like distinction between artist and performer, which I will talk about at another time. But it is funny. People get worked up. So today's song I wrote a long time ago, actually while I was in London. Oh gosh, maybe 8-9 years ago now. And it's about sort of holding your own stuff together, about sort of hanging on to, I don't know, following your own compass and your own way, which is, I think, what artistic practice is all about. And it is called Cathedral. You will notice that because I recorded it a while ago, it will not be recorded on my nice fancy mic, so the sound quality will be a little bit different. But so be it. Here is Cathedral. Holding up a cathedral on the end of a needle, muscles straining to believe, looking in through the stained glass at all the scenes that have long passed. They're just fragile, thin glass. And if I happen to fall from the weight of it all suddenly, would there be anyone who could say what had happened to me? Because the buildings of faith are constructed with breath from the sea, that require an inspired and steadfast eye to see. Digging out the foundation, I try to cultivate patience in this landscape made of air. And all the things that I unearth, it's hard to see what they're worth. They're all covered in dirt. And if I happen to fall from the weight of it all suddenly, would there be anyone who could say what had happened to me? Because the buildings of faith are constructed with breath from the sea, that require an inspired and steadfast eye to see. Please take this stone and touch this wall with your hand. I've made my home out of water and sands. Pretend you've known where this cathedral stands. I put the roof on the cloister and start to feel my joy stir in the secret sacristy. Try my best to hold on to what others see as just untrue, but could be. We'll see. And if I happen to fall from the weight of it all suddenly, would there be anyone who could say what had happened to me? As the buildings of faith are constructed with breath from the sea, that require an inspired and steadfast eye to see. Please take this stone and touch this wall with your hand. I built my home out of water and sand. Pretend you know where this cathedral